We need to help others see and understand the complexity of what's occurring in the classroom. We need to help teachers identify their own instructional limitations, and we need to provide support systems for those teachers so that they can grow and develop and improve student learning.
You need to think about the grade level teams and the unpacking of the standards with a methodology. That is, we don't just read through them and get some general idea about them, but you have to think through them with a method. So what are we talking about? Well, what is it that students have to really know? If they're going to be able to perform with knowledge later on, what are the kinds of things they have to know? What are the tasks that they have to be able to do? What are the big overarching understandings that we want them to come away with? And what are the tasks that we can create to help them get there? That's the kind of unpacking that we have to do with a real method in mind as we take a look at it.
GSCG facilitated the process of developing SGOs in the Haddonfield Public Schools last year, one of the pilot districts. We thought we had good success in working with this district and helping them build a good working relationship with their staff, and one that respected the role that the teacher's knowledge of students played in this and the role that the principal played in this in actually defining what was going to be an appropriate SGO for each teacher.
SGOs. People need help with these, and more than anything, you have individual principals who need to be leading them. What kind of support are you going to give them if they're going to do this practice? Okay? And then the third part is, beyond that, I think the next step after you get through this is to look at assessment practices that you're using related to this and the kinds of things that SGOs are going to depend upon, which is good assessments developed to support them. That'll be like the next step.
Our highly capable administrators and facilitators can work on the process of developing SGOs, but they can also work with individual principals, coaching them and assisting them and ensuring that they've developed a high level of inter-rater reliability with their colleagues. An important area for continued trust is for teachers to recognize that whether they're in school A or school B, what's being seen in the classroom is going to be essentially the same in each of those places. It's important for the system itself to build that kind of trust with teachers.
Teachers remain concerned about the assurance of rigor and equity in the development of student growth objectives. It's a big piece, right? SGOs are really, really a big piece, and since everybody has one, even people in the tested grades, this is probably the riskiest part of the entire venture. Why? Because people want to know that the SGOs that are being developed in my school are just as rigorous as the ones in the next school. One of the things that we did well in Haddonfield, I think, extremely well, I did some research on SGOs. I came up with some background knowledge that they could use. I shared it with the principals. We sat together. They developed the PowerPoint. The PowerPoints are really good. One was for elementary, one was for middle, one was for high school. The principals led the conversation at the next stage. They have to. Why? Because principals are the one responsible for approving every one of these SGOs. Every one of them. It's in the principal's lap. They've got to be the lead on this. No two ways about it. So we were able to come up with a way to help them get to a point where they could, in fact, develop those SGOs with their staff. Teachers remain concerned about adequate levels of support for non-tenured staff. I don't think that's a surprise. Okay. Whoops. Wrong one. All right. This is the policy-making view behind